Okay guys, behind us right now we have a brand new Mitsubishi Pajero Sport 2022 model, and today we're going to go ahead and install a red arc dual battery system into this car. And the first step is going to be to install our dual battery tray. Now this kit's designed to fit both the Pajero Sport and the Mitsubishi Triton from 2019 on. So let's go ahead and install this dual battery tray into this vehicle and show you how to do it in your own vehicle. So our first step to get our dual battery tray into place is to actually remove the existing battery from the vehicle, and that's just to give us more access really. So let's start by disconnecting the negative terminal of the car. We'll just set that aside. Next we'll do the positive terminal, another 10mm spanner. Lift that off the post and sit it aside. And now we're going to look at taking our hold down clamp off. We'll just set that aside for now. Okay, so now that we've got our terminals off and our hold down clamp off, we can just remove this battery in its black tub. Just lift it out of the engine bay and just set it aside. Okay, so what we need to do now is remove this bracket holding our wiring loom there. So we're going to loosen this 6mm bolt here, and also these two bolts here, or our nuts holding the Bosch relay in place. So let's start with our 6mm. Okay, so there's one. And then using a 12mm socket, we can undo these two as well. And there's a little tab here, you might see this plastic clip. So what we're going to do is just lift up that black tab and then release that bracket, so we can discard that bracket. Okay, so the next thing we have to do is just relocate. You can see there's two sets of plastic clips here for our fuel line, and at the moment it's in the top one. So what we want to do is just pop that out and just place it in the second one. So just with our thumb really, just lift up that tab, pulling it away from the vehicle. Same on the other one. So now you can see our fuel line's released, and we're just putting it exactly in the same location, but down in the bottom set of clips. There we go. Right. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is release a plastic clip here that also holds our electrical harness. So going through the existing original battery position, there's a hole here, and we can just release that plastic clip by pushing in and then pulling on the harness from underneath. So once we release one side, do the same on the other, and we can push that clip out of its hole, like so. Now that just allows us to move this harness a little bit more. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is, you can see a little mounting bolt down here on our lines here. It's just a mounting bracket that holds these lines. So what we want to do is remove that bolt, and that's going to be one of the feet that our dual battery tray uses to mount on. So using a 12mm socket, we're just going to undo that bolt. Take it right out. All right, so now that we've made room for our battery tray to go in, we can actually sit it into position. So the first thing we want to line up is our foot from the bolt that we just removed down there. Sit that into place. We've got a bolt on the inner guard that lines up with an existing hole in here. We've got another hole that lines up on the top of the guard, and we also want these to line up with our mounting bracket from the Bosch relay we took off at the start. So let's sit our tray in. Next thing, we're going to line up our two studs here from the relay mount, and that's just gone straight in nice and easy. Like so. And now that that's sitting in position, we want to go through our 3 bolts down the back and just get them all finger tight, so it's sitting in the right spot, and then we can go and secure everything. So let's start with our bolt through the bracket that we just took out. Okay, so you'll notice in the kit we've got all the bolts required for the install. So this one with our pilot point on the end, it's the longer of the 8mm bolts. That's the one we're going to use to go in through our bracket. So we can reach down through this hole or around the back of the tray, and we can at least see through the hole. So we want to just start that finger tight. Okay, so we've got that one finger tight. So the next one that we want to get finger tight is just reaching through this hole again. We've got an 8mm bolt, and that's our short 8mm bolt going through into the side of the mudguard area. So we'll find our hole, line that up. Okay, so I've got that one finger tight now. I've just had to push on the tray a little bit there to get that to line up, but it has gone in finger tight. Okay, so the next one, the third one in our kit, is our 10mm head, 6mm bolt, and that's going through, so using a 10mm socket, that's going to go through here into the top of the body. Now a bit of a trick is I'll just reach under with my finger through that hole and hold onto that bolt while I find the hole. Like so. And we can do that one up finger tight. So that's all finger tight. The last one that we're going to do is our relay. And put that back into its position over top of the Piranha tray that's also gone in there. And we can re-secure those bolts or those nuts. Okay, so they're all back on finger tight now. So we're going to go and secure them up fully tight now, and always going to start with the hardest to access first. So we're going to do that one through there first, work our way to this one, and then these two. So using a 12mm socket or spanner. Now this is a ratchet that has a twist handle, which makes it a bit easier in tight spaces, but you will be able to get another one. It'll just be a bit more. So there is action to swing a socket in there, but just a bit more time consuming. So we'll just use this handle to get it in there. And then finish it off by swinging the handle. Okay, so that one's done up. The next one, while we got the 12mm spanner there, is to do this one on the inner, which we can access through the hole in the battery tray. We can do it up secure as well. And next we'll do up our 10mm bolt here. And the last two is we're just going to nip up our 13mm nuts here on the back. 12mm nuts, sorry. So there we go, our battery tray is fully secure now, fully installed, it's not going anywhere. Now it's time to actually put our battery into the position and secure our hold down clamps.
Rolling.
Okay, so one last thing that we need to do now that our tray is in position is we need to make sure that none of our fuel lines or oil lines or anything are rubbing on the battery tray. So we can see we've got a bracket going through this hole. We've got those fuel lines that we relocated earlier. And if we reach through there, we just want to make sure that it's not rubbing on that bracket. And if it is pretty close to the bracket, there's a few things that we can do to change that. So you can see me moving this fuel line here is actually moving it away and closer there. So we can secure this with a cable tie around the bracket here, which will make the fuel line go away from the bracket. We can also push it in its holder. So push it that way a bit, and I can now get my finger in between the bracket and the fuel line. So it's quite important that we find that location, just manipulate things and move them so that we're not causing anything to rub. So I'm just going to find the best spot. So we could cable tie In this case, the fuel line around that heater hose, and that's going to pull it away, and possibly a cable tie around here. So we'll just grab some cable ties. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just put a cable tie around the heater hose and fuel line here. And this is actually a recommended step from Piranha, so we'll follow that guidance. And I can still get my finger there. Yep, I can get my finger through, so I'm happy with that. That's kept it away. So I'll just cut that cable tie end off. Okay, so we've got our deep cycle battery here ready to go into position. In this case, we're using a Delcor HDC 24. It's an 82 amp hour deep cycle battery, and it fits nicely in this tray. So let's set it into position now. So just holding our cable out the way, pop that battery in. Just mindful of all our hoses as we're doing that. And you can see I've also opted to have the battery terminals closest to me. The harness in the Red Arc kit will be long enough for any configuration, but just in this case, I'm keeping them all on the one side. So now that we've got our battery into position, we can get our hold down clamp and secure that into place. So this is the hold down clamp provided in the Piranha kit. You'll notice we've got 2 J bolts and a crossbar, which sits across the battery. So 1 J bolt at a time. We'll take the wing nut off and probably get to the most difficult one on the back side first. Putting our J bolt down in line with the battery, there's a cut in the tray. So what we're looking to do is go down, twist 90 degrees, and it will go in the hole in the tray and lock that into position. So going down like that, 90-degree turn has locked it in. And then I can put our crossbar over that position and just do that finger tight for now. That should hold that one into the position. Same step with our other J bolt. Wing nut off. We're going to go down into there, 90-degree turn once we see it in line with the hole. I might have to push this battery away just to, yep, there we go, plenty of room now. Then we can pull our battery back. Oh. Put our washer and wing nut on. I'm just going to nip those wing nuts up. Using a pair of pliers. So you can see now our battery is fully secure, it's not going anywhere. So now that we've done that, we can reinstall our main battery and our batteries are then fully installed. Okay, so we're just going to sit our battery back into position without the battery box this time. So it's just not enough room for both, so we'll just sit it back in there. I'm just going to try and pop the base of the battery back into its holder. Yep, there we go. And once I can see it's in its tray, it's in its position. Make sure we've got room for our terminals to go back on, which we do. The positive's going to go back on. So now that our main battery is sitting back into position, we can go ahead and re-secure it. And you'll notice with our J-bolts on the main battery, one is longer than the other. So our long one is going to go on the engine side. So we'll start with it. And you can find a hole in the body there, designed for it. And then similar to the auxiliary battery, we're just going to sit that through the cross bracket and do this up finger tight. Once we have that finger tight, we'll do the same step with the shorter J-bolt. And we're looking through in between the fuse box here and the battery. There's a bracket, mounting bracket there. And you can see same thing, down, turn 90 degrees and it will lock in. Now that we've got our hold down clamp finger tight, we can go and secure those bolts and lock our main battery back into its position. So there we go. We don't want to go too tight on these. We just want to make sure our battery is secure. And now that we've done that, we can do the reverse step of doing a positive battery terminal first and then finishing with our negative. And the reason we do this is it is a bit safer, because if we haven't got our negative terminal connected, we're working with our positive terminal and we happen to touch the body anywhere, it's not actually live at this point. We haven't finished the circuit with our negative. So when we're disconnecting a battery, we'll start with the negative first, and then when we're reconnecting, positive first. Positive's done, and now we can sit our negative into position. Okay, so that's the completion of our dual battery tray into this Mitsubishi Pajero Sport. Same battery tray for a Mitsubishi Triton. This kit does both. So you can see we've got it into position there, it's secure. Our main battery is back secure. So now that we've done this step, our next video will explain how to get the Red Arc DC-DC charger into this vehicle to maintain charge through solar and DC-DC charging while we're driving, and also to act as our isolator. And that's the whole brains of our dual battery system. So let's get into that, and you can check it out in the next video.